Thank you very much. I am Silvia Sevilla. I am the Web Preservation Coordinator of the Publications Office of the European Union. And I would like to speak today about the European Union Web Archive. First of all, I would like to speak shortly about the Publications Office of the European Union and to explain to you what it is and what we do. The Publications Office was established in 1969, and it was created to publish the European Union law. Over time, we start to get more functions about the publications, and then we took over the role of publisher of all the publications created for the European Union institutions, agencies, and bodies. And finally, in 2009, the Publications Office was mandated officially as a provider of management services for all the European institutions. We publish European Union law, the official journal that is published every day in 24 languages. We publish also general publications in all formats, in paper and in HTML and other electronic formats. And we are in charge also of different websites, like EURLESS, Open Data, publications of the European Union, Business Opportunity, that, Cordis, etc. We have all these publications are published in 24 languages. About the languages, we have, this is about only websites, and we have, this graph shows the number of languages we have in the websites. The 41% of our websites are published only in English. These are websites that are updated very often, and then the life of these websites is very short. Then we have a 13% of publications that are in between 2 and 6 languages. Of course, all of them are published in English, French, and German, but also in some other languages that normally are Italian, Polish, and Spanish. The 39% of the websites are published in 23 or 24 languages. These are the official languages. And these are the websites that contains general information or sensible information, something that has to be understandable in any language of the European Union. And then the 7% of the publications have some more languages, are published in 25 up to 30 languages. And these are the websites that are the interest is beyond the European Union borders. For example, migration or culture or environment. So then the services provided by OP, you can see here the detail of these services. This shows that the Publications Office is much more than a traditional publisher or a traditional publishing house. So we are in charge of production, access and reuse, and preservation. And today we will speak about the EU Web Archive. Our clients, or the people that for which we work, are the European institutions, bodies, and agencies. These are the main, you will see here, the main European institutions, and then we have about 50 agencies and about 10, 15 other bodies that are working in connection with institutions. I would say that we have about 150 clients for the EU Web Archive. Focus already in the EU Web Archive, I would like to speak about the evolution of this archive. The interest in publishing, in preserving the websites of the European Union started in 2013. At the time, it was the historical archives of the European Union that are based in Florence, in Italy, that were in charge of that. But in 2018, the Publications Office takes over the Web Archiving service. In 2019, we decided that we would better have a tool that provides us flexibility and independence to make our own web archive. And then in 2020, we integrate all archives of the European Union. These are archives from 1996. We integrated in the EU Web Archive, and these belong to the domains previous to europa.eu. In the next year, we have created the EU Web Archive website. That is a portal that contains all the general information and also that give access to the EU Web Archive itself. And we are working in the ingestion in the EU long-term repository of the Word files. This will be the phase of preservation of these websites. And the Word files will be together with the rest of the publications that we already preserved. The content of the EU Web Archive, the main content, is composed by the regular archive that contains all the websites included in the europa.eu domain. So we have about 250 active URL captured 4 times per year. And then we also keep final archives of the websites that are going to be put offline. We have today more than 350 websites archived, and we also have these historic archives that I mentioned before that include information from 1996 to 2013. Then we also have a collection of the publications of the European Union in HTML format. We have about 200 publications included in this collection, but some of these publications have been updated several times. So at the end, and they are in 24 languages. So at the end, we had about 5,000 URLs in this collection. About the characteristics of the EU Web Archive, I must say that something that is very characteristic of our archive is that we have a scope limited. We only crawl the pages of European Union institutions and agencies, and this gives us a flexibility in the crawl frequency and the scope. The frequency and the scope of each capture can be defined even for each URL. We also have the advantage, maybe, to know well who is behind every website. So we have contact with the different clients, and we can cooperate with them in the quality control and in the establishment of the frequency and the scope of these captures. The archive is also multilingual, as I said before, and all the content until now is public. So everybody can consult the archive online, the whole archive. This characteristic of being public make necessary to have a takedown policy, because for some reasons that normally are copyright reasons or data protection reasons, sometimes we have to remove content from the public archive. So when the clients request to remove some content, we have to act immediately and remove this content from the public website. Frequently we do this with some pages related to people working in Afghanistan or that for protecting the data of these people that were in Afghanistan and what have some details of personal details in the EU Web Archive. Well, something that is, well, I couldn't say that is about all the archives, all the web archives, but the EU Web Archive in particular has the purpose to create a memory of the European websites but not to preserve the content at a granular level. This is because, we have other means of preservation of the information produced in the European Union, and the Web Archive is one of these ways to preserve, but it's not the only one. So, for example, for official information or for publications that have to be preserved, we have other ways to do it, more systematic. So the EU Web Archive has the purpose to give an overview of how was the web archives of the European Union all over the time. And this is important, and it's important to say it because for some people, maybe they can't take for granted that all content is there and that all content can be retrieved very easily. And with the Web Archive, it's not always like this. Today, this is the content that is excluded from the Web Archive, the databases and the dynamic content, depending on human interaction. Social media, for the moment, is not included. And the external links are excluded also from the EU Web Archive. And all the web content that is not available in the public domain, we don't capture it so far. Speaking about the web archiving process, we decided to take the web archiving tool offered by Internet Archive. What is archived is the version that is works by subscription. For the moment, we don't have any resources enough to construct our main tool. So we use this tool provided by Internet Archive. With this tool, we can select, we can crawl, we can do the quality control, insert metadata, give public access to the archive, and extract the Word files. The content, the selection of the content, we have to select carefully what has to be included in the Web Archive scope, and what has to be archived with this tool, and which other content has to be archived in other ways. For example, we have different archives for databases, for multimedia, and for PDF documents. For the seed scoping, we have different seed types that, well, maybe we will know that is, we can capture the standard page, the standard other external links. We can capture only one page or this page with the links that are mentioned in the page. We have these scoping rules, and it's very easy to expand the scope or to limit the scope when needed. And well, as I said before, we crawl the pages in all the available languages. For the crawl, we can run production and test crawls, and they can be limited by number of documents, by data, or by time. For the time, we can launch crawls from 10 minutes to 30 days. And then the technology we use is the standard one, or that is Heritrix, and Browser. That is another possibility that is gives better results with dynamic content. For the quality control, as we have small collections, we can do an exhaustive quality control. We have the direct contact with the website owners, so the possibility to solve the problems at the source and the possibility to work with them in the frequency and in the scoping. The crawl report gives information on the number of documents captured, the information that has been blocked, or the type of files that have been captured. We can also insert metadata that can be defined at the level of seed, collection, or document. It's very easy to insert metadata in this, thanks to this tool, and we can even import bulk metadata from Excel files. This is the home page of the EU Web Archive. Well, it's just a page that contains general information about the purpose of the Web Archive and how it works. And we have a part dedicated to the clients, in which we advise and we give advice about how to make better archival websites. And then here, well, we have some basic filters by institution or topics. Once that we choose one of these topics or institution, we go to the main archive, and this here we can use the search box, or we can filter the results by other criteria. And then we will get the total result, the archives, the list of URLs archived in the archive, and they are arranged by alphabetical order. This is the list of archived versions that we get when we choose one of the URLs, and then we can see the number of archives that have been taken, and we can choose one of these instances. When the asterisk means that there are new content, and when you don't see the asterisk, that means that the content has not been changed from the last archive. This is how the archive looks like. Here you can see the URL of the archive website, and then the banner that displays details of the archived content. You know that you are in one archived version when you see the banner, and then you have information about when the content was captured. Well, I think this is everything that I wanted to share with you today. And this is the URL of the EU Web Archive and my contact details. So please feel free to contact me for any further information that you can need. And well, thank you very much to invite me, and thank you for the translation also.
Can you tell us some more about the reasons why the EU Web Archiving was moved from the historical archive in Florence to the publication office in 2018? Because as I understand well, it started in historical archive in Florence in 2013, yeah?
Yeah.
And in 2018 was moved to the publication office. And I wonder why? What are the reasons?
Yeah, this was because in 2009 the Publications Office was taking a central role as a publisher and as a service provider. So in this particular moment we create the web archiving service, and then we decided that it could be better to have all the long-term preservation together in the office. In the office, apart from the web archiving, there is a unit dedicated to the long-term preservation, and then it works with physical archives and with digital archives. So the web archive was the last step to have everything together. So they started at the beginning. They worked with one contractor that was doing the web archive in their names, let's say, and then we took a more active role in the preservation of websites. I think it's interesting to have everything together, because that way we can decide exactly in which way we want to preserve every piece of content.
So the historical archives in Florence still have some dealing with it or not? Now?
No. For web archiving, no. They have they have all the historic archive of in paper, and they are the central archive of the European Union.
Only in paper.
Only in paper. They have some digital archiving, but for the long-term preservation, long-term physical digital preservation is based in the Publications Office in Luxembourg.
Thank you.
Bardzo poprosimy o mikrofon, przekazanie mikrofonu. I kolejne pytanie. Mamy jeszcze kwadrans.
Hi, thank you for your presentation. I'm Anton Postmus from the National Archives of the Netherlands, and you presented about securing content in another way means than harvesting a website like PDFs or databases or AV content. Have you already done this, and have you already thought about a strategy and how to give access to the website in combination with this other content?
Yeah, we are working on that right now, because we have this plan to use the archiving tool for making the preservation of the whole content and try to give access together. For example, when I say that there are content that is preserved in any other way, this doesn't mean that it's not preserved also with web archiving. For example, in any of the pages that we preserve, if there are PDFs, normally they are included in the EU Web Archive. The problem is that, for example, we have pages of news. This is the more normal example. For example, we have press corners with thousands of news that are preserved in the EU Web Archive, but the problem is the retrieval. Because even if you preserve everything and the content is there, you cannot filter in the EU Web Archive. So for filtering, for having the information perfectly classified with metadata and in collections, this works in any other way. Sometimes it's true that sometimes the content is duplicated, even if they don't want to do it. But sometimes we do, because if you preserve the web page and you don't add the PDF, sometimes the preservation of the web page has no sense. So, of course, you include these PDFs, you include these other formats, but apart from that, we have an archive of all the PDFs that are classified, identified, and is retrieved in another way. Yeah.
And it's retrieved, and could you explain a bit more on the access side of things? So you present these PDFs as a different collection other than the archive websites?
Yes and no, because the long-term preservation, the long-term repository is not completely public. So this is the thing. The EU Web Archive is public. The long-term repository, part of this repository is not public or is not immediately public. So you have to really request the information, and then we provide it.
Thank you.
I od razu kolejne pytanie.
So the data is very valuable, of course, and my question is, do you have any strategy for backup of the data? Is Archiveit also keeping it like Internet Archive that has a backup in Egypt? Do they also store this data in several locations?
Yeah, this is something that's really important for us. What we are doing now is inserting the Word files in the long-term repository. This is, of course, very useful from the point of view of security. It's not that useful considering that we don't have any, for now, any way to display these archives. So what we keep is a security copy, let's say. We will preserve it, and we will preserve it in a way that can be identified and cataloged. But so far, we are not able to display this content by ourselves. So we are working on that also. I think at the end, we will have a tool, our own tool for archiving and for displaying this content. For the moment, we don't have resources for that, not yet. So we are growing a little bit. For the moment, when the web archiving service is really small.
Thank you.
Hi, Silvia, thank you for the presentation. I have a question because it's regarding to where the information is stored. So there are differences between US laws and European laws. My question is, if you are putting this information on archived service and archived service in the US, this means that our data is subject to US laws or European laws?
Yeah, this is a good question. The information is is under the US laws, and also, this is really tricky because we have. This is the reason why we don't keep information that is not public, because for us it would be really complicated to deal with copyright and with data protection. In fact, we have many problems with copyright, and I think we will have more in the future because the regulation is being more and more restricted. This is why we are working in the possibility to have our own archive, and we will really like to have this archive in Europe.
Glad to hear.
Yeah. For the moment, we didn't find any other alternative.
Mamy kolejne pytanie. I mnóstwo czasu jeszcze, także proszę go dobrze
Dzień dobry,
wykorzystać.
Marek Konstankiewicz, Uniwersytet Marii Curie-Skłodowskiej. Jeśli dobrze zrozumiałem, mówiła Pani, że ze zarchiwizowanych stron bywają usuwane informacje ze względu na prawo autorskie czy ochronę danych osobowych. Czy to jest usunięcie definitywne, trwałe, czy tylko czasowe, dopóki te ograniczenia mają zastosowanie?
I didn't get the translation.
Okay, so the question is about the information which you don't have copyright, for example, is vanishing from your base constantly or just temporarily because, for example, in 1 year you have the copyrights for them and they are just restored. If I could understand your question, yes?
Yeah, about the copyright, what we are doing now is, to train the website owners for being sure that all the content that is going to be archived, we have the copyright. Otherwise, we will not archive the pages. It's true that it's very difficult to be completely sure that we have the copyright for all, because now in the late years, this works like this. I really don't know what happened with the information that we have from 1996, and this is really difficult to check. And we have the copyright service working on that, but it's really very difficult to be sure that we are the owner of the copyright in all cases. But in the last websites that we are capturing now, this is really something important. So the website owner has to know that the copyright is ours.
Is it okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeszcze jedno pytanie, jeszcze dwa pytania. I za chwilę pytanie od naszego kolejnego prezentera. Także bardzo proszę.
Hello. Could you give me some numbers? So what is the size of the current archive and how many people working at the archiving process? And the last one is, let's assume I've got an organization which want to be enrolled. What is the procedure? Thank you.
Yeah, okay, about figures, well, I didn't display it in the presentation, but I think that our EU Web Archive is about, I think it will be about 8 terabytes. Mm-hmm. About number of documents, I think we will have about 1 million of documents included, and in the regular collections. And about the team, the people that is working on that, well, we have this tool that is run by another institution that is Internet Archive. So the Web Archive service is composed by 2 people. Yeah. So we are not very much for the moment.
Is it okay with you?
Yeah, and the enrollment procedure as an agency or as an organization. I'm a website owner and I want to be archived in your archive. So what should I do?
Okay, we have the list of URLs published by the European Union institutions and agencies. But of course, we have the basic list, so we capture these websites regularly without that the website owner has to do nothing in concrete. But when there is a subsite or when there is something that has to be added to this list, we trust on them that to contact us to inform us about that. Sometimes it's not the case, but we don't have that many, so we have about a list of 200 contacts.
Okay, what is the cost? What is the cost?
The cost for the website owner?
Yep.
No.
Okay.
There is no cost. It's a free service.
I prosimy o przekazanie mikrofonu Martonowi, który, jak wspomniałem, będzie kolejnym mówcą.
Thank you very much. And I just have a short question that you have some difficulties or experiences with GDPR issues and the right to be forgotten is appearing somehow in the EU web archiving context because it's a really complex issue and even more complex as the data are on the archive IT servers and you have to apply the European EU legal rules. So what's the situation in this sense? It is relevant for you or you don't have content that you have to deal with in this sense?
Yeah, there is always content that we have to. It's true that all the information that we archive is public, so normally we don't have this type of problems. We have more problems recently, as I said before, for security reasons. For example, every time that there is a conflict or something like that, we have to be very vigilant to that. The case of Afghanistan, it was really something amazing because I realized how much content we had that could be potentially dangerous. So, but we have different services like the European External Service that is very vigilant with that. We have other agencies, the fundamental rights agencies, and they are really focused on these type of problems, and we are in permanent contact with them. And the time to remove the content is really very short.